Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1868, written by Bubble Wrap 11. Mystery meal? Was it even real? To preface this, I've been living in the same neighborhood for more than 10 years, so I know my way around very well. Today, I was running some errands by foot, going from store to store, walking around the neighborhood, something I do frequently. When I was walking down a certain street, I passed by a corner where a famous local fast food place had been open for business for all of the 10 years I've been living here. I was on the other side of the street and looked at it, because I was hungry and thinking of maybe eating there later before going back home. The thing is, when I looked at it, the place was completely closed down. Nothing was there anymore. The sign with its name, the glass window where you could see inside the restaurant. The doors were closed, and by the way it looked, it seemed as if it had been closed down for a while, or at least long enough for there to not be any traces of the fast food place left behind. Nothing was in its place either, as if it hadn't been sold yet. I hadn't eaten there that often to be super upset about it, but I was a little bummed. I thought something like, damn, I didn't know they had closed it down. Like I said, I was hungry and I'd been thinking of maybe eating there before I went home. Anyway, I went about my business and went to the other stores and places I had to go. Ended up eating something quick in another place. The strange thing comes now. When I was going back home, I passed by the place again, going the other way. This time, I walked right by the restaurant, and to my absolute shock, the fast food place was there again, fully working. Sign with its name bright and clear. Window glass allowing me to see inside where people were sitting down and eating. I was simply flabbergasted, and kept looking back at it, until it disappeared from my sight as I turned around the corner. How can a place be closed down with no signs of being open for business, and less than 1 hour later, it's fully working as if nothing happened? I don't know if my hunger made me see things, or if I was in a parallel reality for 1 hour. If I knew the fast food joint was going to be there again, I would have taken a picture of it closed down. Case file 1868. Mystery meal? Was it even real? Yeah, walking around in town and seeing a restaurant in a different universe. Or rather, a building in a different universe that corresponds to the restaurant that you know. So nothing happened in your universe, you were just sightseeing in a different one. You crossed the Atlantic of the multiverse sea without even feeling a thing. Which does make you think, is it right on top? Are we right on top of each other? Maybe it's not a sea, maybe it's a little pond that stretches between it. And it's pretty easy to cross, given certain geographic areas that are prone to allowing that connection. Case file number 1869, written by Usual Entertainment 649. Rusty Keys and Unusual Mysteries. In 2018, my father and I lived with my grandma. This was before I left for college, for my first year, mind you. One night, she asked us to go to the store for her, as she's elderly and needed a lot of help around the house. I went with my dad because I just wanted to get out. Plus, I was about to be gone for a while for college, so I wanted to spend some time with him. She handed us the keys to her car, and we took her car to the store and even filled it up with gas. It was a very short trip, and we came back within 30 minutes. Now, this is what is so weird about all of it. My dad and I were parked at the front of the house, and like most people do, we were chatting before we got out. My dad is a long-winded storyteller, and while he was telling me the rest of the story, I distinctly remember him taking the keys out of the ignition. I remember the sound of the keys being put in a little tray by the shifting gear. I even glanced down at them. When we finished chatting, he told me to grab the keys for him to bring back to my grandma, and that he would grab the groceries in the back. Except, when I went to grab the keys, they were gone. I asked my dad if he happened to grab them out of habit, even though I would have noticed because keys are loud, they jingle. I just wanted to make sure. He told me that he didn't, and that to look in the front tray. I told him they weren't there, and he came back to the front, kinda frustrated because I couldn't find them. He was like, "Oh, you're right. That's weird." So, we practically pull apart the car. We look under all seats, even the back ones. Lift up the little carpets, look at the side pockets, pull everything out of the glove box. Look outside the car on the concrete, everywhere. We tell my grandma that they're gone, and she's super confused how we lost her set of keys when we were just in the car. This seriously bothered all of us. My grandma said she was getting her car detailed that next week, so they would find them if they ended up somewhere odd. They never did. Anyway, 4 years later, I'm a senior in college. My dad comes to pick me up because I live 3 hours away and I can't drive. He took my grandma's car because it's better on gas. We actually ended up talking about the keys again, and I can't remember what made us remember it. Either way, he stops for gas before we leave the town my college is in. I get out of my seat because I'm going to go to the bathroom one last time before we get going. I hear a weird jingle and a thud. The keys are sitting there on the floorboard. I literally stared at the floor in shock, and the fact we were just talking about it freaked me out even more. I call my dad over to my side and I just point at them. They were severely rusted, but unmistakably the keys we lost 4 years ago. We called my grandma, and even she was perplexed and couldn't think of an explanation. It's still so odd and bothers me. I'm 2 years post-grad now, and I tell this story to my friends in hopes of an explanation that never comes. Caisson se fait 1869. Rusty keys and unusual mysteries. Okay, now we have a variation on disappearing object phenomenon. Usually, when an object disappears, it's vanished from the universe's server. It's not degrading anymore, collecting rust, because it isn't even spawned into the world. It's simply out of phase, not rendered in. I prefer saying not rendered in. But in this case, it must have been. It disappeared to a different location on the planet, and one with high humidity and maybe salt, maybe near the ocean. So it actually teleported away, then teleported back. It didn't de-render, otherwise it wouldn't have collected rust. So that's a new spin on it, and very rare. You never hear about objects accumulating damage or rust. You see this all the time with like phones disappearing and they come back. The battery life is exactly the same as when it left, etc., etc. Sometimes they return with more battery life, which I'm not sure how to square that one. It's like a time reversal. But this one, or maybe this was a time acceleration, because time is not linear. There is no absolute time, which is one thing we'll never intuitively understand, but basically, depending on how fast you're moving through space, that will affect how quickly your clock is ticking per the outside world, so it's a reference frame based system. But from its own reference frame, it would have to have been traveling less in space to accelerate its own clock relative to the outside universe. Which, how do you slow an object like that down while still connecting it to the Earth? I don't know. I don't think it's related to that. I don't think it's related to known physics. I think something happened where it probably just experienced normal time, but just nearby a body of salty water and collected rust as a result. But it's just bizarre. Why would this happen? What caused it to happen? Is it can't random? No. But I got nothing as to the exact cause, besides someone pranking you. And even then, it's not really even that good of a prank, even if it was. So that's not even an explanation either, to me. Now time for the joke of the day. I was gutted this afternoon when my wife told me my 6-year-old son wasn't actually mine. She then said I need to pay more attention at school pickup. Yeah, don't take the wrong kid. That's gonna cause some problems. FBI, open up. Oh my god. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.